Lzzy Hale from Halestorm. Welcome to Noise11.com, and I am looking forward
Yeah,
to welcoming you back to Australia in 2023. It has been way too long.
it really has. And thank you for having me, Paul. This is awesome. It just gets me more excited. I mean, the guys and I have already been talking about what we're going to wear in Australia. And I know it's a couple months, but it's we got to prepare now, you know. We're just far too excited. It's been a long time coming.
Well, we were getting an average of every 2 years. We had 2015, 2017, and then twice in 2019.
That's true. That's true. But we wanted to come over sooner, and then the world said no. So it's time. But yeah, it's I mean, it's such an amazing energy where you are, and we've been considering just all of these shows that come before Australia as our big warm up for the craziness that is Australia and the Australian rock scene. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
You have been called the hardest working band in showbiz. I mean, you do so many shows every year. So when the COVID thing hit, it must have been a very difficult time for Hailstorm.
Oh yeah, like we went through the first month the way everybody else in the world did. We're like, we're in this together. We've never had this type of time off. Let's like call it a vacation. And then all of a sudden it started to get like weirder and weirder. And it was like, wait, all of our shows are canceled. Wait, we can't actually book more shows. Um, we can't see each other. We can't get in the studio. And it got weird because I've been in this band since I was 13 years old, right? So I've been in this band longer than I haven't been in this band in my life. So it's become more or less a part of me. And so when everything was gone, I'm I almost like all I had left was like my pre-band Lzzy, which is Elizabeth Hale sitting on the couch, like in her pajamas for 3 days in a row. I'm like, who are you? What do I do? What's my purpose in life, kind of thing. And because and we were joking about that earlier, where it's like, at least when I was 13 and we first started playing out live, we had like a bowling alley gig twice a month, at least that. And like it got to the point during lockdown, I'm like, I'll take the bowling alley gig. I'll play for free pizza. It's great. I will totally. But it's great to have everybody back again, and the shows have been amazing. The response to the album has been amazing, and it just feels like everybody's just like ready for shows in the best way possible.
So where were you with Back to the Dead around March 2020, just prior to everything hitting? Had any of the album been constructed at that point?
Not really. We had written a couple songs, and we already begun demoing for the next record. We were actually really lucky when lockdown hit, because we had already kind of taken some time, and we were at the end of our album cycle. So there wasn't a whole lot immediately after lockdown that we had to cancel. It was only when it kept extending further and further that we're like, oh no. But we had some songs written, and then once everything just kind of started, we were looking back at some of those songs when we got in the studio. We're like, no, like they just seemed kind of petty and unimportant, almost like it was from another lifetime, which it was. We just weren't thinking that way anymore. So we decided to just really more or less live in the now and try to write about the things that we are feeling right now, and the things that we are excited about right now. And it helped us a lot actually through the pandemic, just having that project to write through it, because you're being bombarded every day by everything happening in the world, and there's so much hate for hate's sake, and there's so much that we're all still trying to fight through. And so I guess I almost felt the need to take all of that in a personal direction, and really do something about it. It's like you can feel helpless at that point in time when you're just watching everything kind of crumble around you. And so the way that I was combating that darkness was just trying to put it into music, and maybe somebody will hear it. And so by the time the album actually like was done and we got into the studio and finally released it, it was more or less, it was like a relief, more than a triumph. It was like, okay, we made it through. We got to the other side. So yeah, it's been beautiful seeing the response to everybody just for that reason alone.
And lyrically, it's very serious. You're talking about mental health in this. Is that as a result of the lockdown, or were you working towards this topic prior to that?
I've always been a huge advocate for mental health, and since before, but I think that what I saw not only in my peers and just the world in general in the middle of lockdown, and in the middle of just like we're faced with this unknown future. Not only everybody else that I was kind of absorbing from, but also myself trying to figure out rediscover who I am again, and try to pivot and do something with myself, and do something good. So I feel like it was almost more of, it was less of a, I'm an advocate for it, and more like we're all actually going through this right now. So it's like it just added a little bit more realism to it.
With the live show, it really represents all of the 5 albums, doesn't it? There's something from everything there, but obviously, with the new album Back from the Dead, we've got bookends currently on the set, I think opening with Psycho Crazy, ending with The Steeple. So how did you rearrange your set in coming back to perform live so that all these new songs basically seem endless, go endlessly with the older tracks that you perform?
Oh, it's a good problem to have, is that we have a lot of songs under our belt. So how we've been kind of organizing it, we definitely, especially for our tour in Australia, we want to give everybody everything that we possibly can, because we're just excited, and we're going to be there, and why not? But we switch up our set every night. We do experiments with different tracks and different songs and different orders and arrangements and all of that. And mainly just because it's fun for us, but we also know that there's going to be a lot of people coming to multiple shows. So you don't want to just play the same set every night. So because that gets a little boring and all of that. So excuse me. So yeah, I like, we kind of fly by the seat of our pants every single day. Whereas we're like, okay, so here's the kind of crowd. What do you feel like playing it in? Should we open up with something weird? Should we open up with Back from the Dead? Do we open up with you playing piano? Like how and so that's the beauty of the live show, is that you can kind of just experiment every single night, but while still getting in all of the things that we're known for, but also giving people all the new songs that they want. So yeah, it's a daunting task, but we're lucky to be in a position where that is a problem.
Well, speaking of something weird, there was something weird in Reanimate, wasn't there? I mean, when you went and did those cover songs,
Yeah.
doing a Skid Row song, doing a Guns N' Roses song, I can accept that. Doing a Lady Gaga song was totally left of center.
Absolutely. We always like to throw in an oddball, because I feel like if it's a good song, it can be a good rock song. And so that's kind of all we really did with that, was just kind of just turn it to 11, so to speak. and I'll pop the octave in the choruses, and we'll crunch up the guitars, and we did it for fun. Who could have guessed that it would have gone gangbusters? And now everybody requests us doing that song all the time. And I'm like, I don't even remember how to play it. I haven't played it since 2010. But maybe we'll throw that one in. Who knows? But yeah, I know it's crazy. We just finished recording 2 new covers. So whether or not we're going to just release those as individual songs or have a cover EP, I have no idea what we're going to do with them yet. But we've begun recording some of those just for fun as well.
Oh, do tell, Lzzy Hale. Do tell. What are
Right?
these 2 songs?
I can't tell you my secrets.
You can tell me one. You can tell me one. Then I've only got half the story.
Okay. I'm going to tell you one. We ended up doing a cover of Jolene by Dolly Parton.
Wow.
The stylings of Halestorm. but yeah, I'm not going to tell you the other one. But That's a taste.
Oh, that's a pretty good get. I will be extremely disappointed if that is not performed in Melbourne when you get here next year.
Oh no! You know what? We might actually. So at that point in time, we're probably going to be itching to do a cover.
Yeah. Well, you were also involved in that super group of such doing "You're the Voice" at one point.
Oh yes,
were
absolutely.
you
That was
aware of
during
the history of
lockdown.
that song and John Farnham and his legacy in Australia?
Oh, absolutely. That's hilarious. I forgot that he was from Australia, but I love that song so much. And when I forget who ended up initiating it, but we all just started talking and getting together, like let's do this and let's put it out there. One of the gifts of technology, because we wouldn't have ever been able to get together with all of those people and actually pull that off, if it wasn't for all the Zoom meetings and back and forth collaboration. But but yeah, that would be interesting. That would be a song to do in Australia as well. Obviously, that would make sense. That's interesting.
Well, yes,
I don't know how that would go on at a rock show. It probably would go over great. I've done like Whitney Houston at certain metal shows before. I'll just sit down the piano and just start doing, "I Will Always Love You," which is actually also a Dolly Parton song. And you can pick out the poster child for masculinity, just like biker dude. He knows every word. So yeah, we could probably pull that off in a live show.
yes, and John's not well at the moment. We wish him all the best.
Oh,
And,
is he? Oh, I'm so sorry.
that would be a marvelous tribute to perform
That would be
for him
wonderful.
when you are, particularly here in his hometown of Melbourne.
Oh yes, absolutely. In Melbourne, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to write that down. That'd be that. We might do that. Actually, that's a great idea. I'm so glad we discussed this.
You've had some absolutely amazing collaborations over the years, which must be a lot of fun. Obviously, you're friends with a lot of people because you seem to be invited into their studio very, very often. Like with Stone Sour, Machine Gun Kelly, Evanescence, Dee Snider. Dee Snider would have been fun because, like going into a studio with Dee Snider of Twisted Sister and performing a cover of a Celine Dion Christmas song.
Yes. Speaking of
it doesn't
weird,
get any more bizarre than that, does it?
It really doesn't. But I've known Dee for many years, and he always says yes to adventure. So that was a lot of fun. And just especially around Christmas time, and it's something that I can that I can show my parents and be just like, look what I did. Remember Twisted Sister? It's and Dee's a powerhouse, man. He's just what a smart man, what a great writer, and what a golden hearted human. He really is a sweetheart. Not to he still has his badass reputation, but he is a sweetheart.
Yeah. You did one cover that I was extremely impressed with, the Beatles, I Want You, She's So Heavy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Your dad was a member of your band at one point. Was that his influence coming in? Was he the one who said, this is the Beatle track that would suit this band?
He didn't suggest the track, but I do have my earliest memories of music were the Beatles. So my parents were both huge fans. And with She's So Heavy, the reason we decided to cover that was because when my brother and I first met Joe and Josh, our other members of the band, we got together in my parents' basement and we're like, well, how do we start jamming together? And so we agreed that the only song that the four of us all knew together was She's So Heavy. So we did like a 7-minute version of it, like in my parents' basement, just like jamming with each other. And that's how we knew. That's how we're like, okay, we found our bandmates. We can do this. It just felt like family. And so when we did the cover EP, I'm like, let's do that song. And I think it's one of my favorite Beatles songs because it's so deceivingly simple. You know what I mean? Whereas it sounds like it would be something that anybody could do, but that was a hard track to put together, in the right way and without, because you want to pay tribute to the Beatles. You want to pay tribute to the people that you cover. You don't want to totally mess it up. But so we had fun with it, but that was trying getting that together.
That was an interesting song too, because it's actually two songs sort of intertwined, isn't it?
Intertwined into one, yeah.
Yeah. When you deconstruct a Beatles song and then reconstruct it, do you get a sense of how they go about writing a song?
Absolutely. In fact, I mean, there's, I want to say, there's a point in time in every milestone in my life where the Beatles have come into play. For instance, when I first started writing on piano when I was a kid, this is before the band, I was taking piano lessons in middle school from this lovely lady that was one of my little brother's friends' moms, and she was so cool because like we would go over like normal things like scales and all of that, and then she's like, "Let me teach you a Beatles song." So she started teaching me Beatles chord progressions, and something just kind of clicked. I'm like, wait, so I could literally just rearrange all of these chords into a different progression, and then I could write my own song. Like, whoa, this is crazy. And then when you dissect a Beatles song, like you said, you you see the ins and outs of it, you see the bones of it, you see where that decision was made, why this was better to go major or minor, why that word rhymes with this word, why he didn't rhyme here. It's like it's such a beautiful process. Have you um did you watch Get Back?
Oh
That
yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, everybody did. But that was so inspiring as well because for two reasons. The guys that I were watching it were like, see, they do it too. They get stuck and they get in arguments and whatever. They do that too. It's the Beatles, and they still did that. And then Paul, of course, coming in with all of those unfinished songs that he's just trying to figure it out, and he's trying to write Hey Jude, and then and again, it was like so heartwarming and inspiring to me because I do the same thing. I go gibberish first when I'm writing lyrics, whereas I'm just like, I know it's not supposed to be like Handel, but it's got to be something like that, and then so to watch Paul literally get to the second verse of Hey Jude and not really know what he's saying yet, but he has all these replacement words. Like,
Hmm.
that's amazing. That's awesome. It makes you want to go and sit down and write a song after you listen to the Beatles, after you watch that. It's just yeah, it's there's nothing like them.
Yeah. So, Lzzy Hale, the winner of the 2013 Grammy Award for Best Hard Rock Metal Performance for Love Bites, So Do I. Where is your award?
My right now, it's actually it is on my mantelpiece. Out, it's oh no, we put it down in the basement. We were showing some friends it in the basement a couple weeks ago, so it's still there. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It's nestled right next to the third place trophy that my little brother and I got when we played our first ever show as Halestorm. So it's like still just as important, but but I have both of those things together.
Excellent stuff. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you back here in 2023 with Theory.
Yes,
Yep.
it's gonna be so much fun. We haven't toured with Fear of a Dead Man in many years, and we've known those guys since before we even did our first record. They're buds of ours, so it's gonna be a good time. We got some catching up to
Yep.
do.
And you'll be playing at the Forum where we saw you last time
Yes,
when you were down here. The time before that was at the Corner Hotel. Do you remember the Corner Hotel?
yes, I remember the Corner Hotel. We met a lot of amazing locals there. Believe we had a few beers, which doesn't surprise me. But
And of course, before the show, you sat in the band room at the Corner Hotel.
yep,
The,
absolutely.
the same room Jack White wrote Seven Nation Army.
Oh, I couldn't remember who it was because somebody told me that when we were there, and then I had forgotten about it. We were talking about that. I'm like, what was the room? That's awesome. Now I get to tell my guys the truth. That's amazing. That's
Yes.
amazing.
And if you go and have a look at U2's Window in the Skies video, that was filmed there as well.
That was filmed there as well. I know. There's so much history, and I think that's one of my favorite things about performing overseas and just seeing, like, just the culture, but also to be playing stages that your idols have played or that something magical happened in or there's so much history to. um I don't know, I feel like it's almost like a rite of passage for myself because I'm like, if my 13-year-old self could see me now, like, this is crazy. So I get to relive that every single time.
Perfect stuff. Lzzy Hale, see you in 2023.
Yes, I'll see you there. Thank you so much for taking the time for me. You're delightful.